Ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. Of all the Indian languages, Bharatavarsha, the Sanskritam as a language is the most ancient language. However much there may be a few Tamil communities, they may argue that of all the uh, languages, Tamil is the ancient one. Any Tamilians here? At least I recognize two, three. Oh, okay. 5, 6 of them. This side? No, no, ji.
All the 40 languages of India, Tamil is the most difficult language.
So, did you mean a clarification sought to us? Most difficult are Tamilians or Tamil? I would say that to whom Tamil language is attributed to as the father of that language is sage Agastya. That much you all agree, Tamilians? Right. Sage Agastya came from the Naimisharanya, crossing the Vindhya Parvata into the southern India, and then he started with the Tamil language, before which he had given the most famous shloka to Bhagavan Ramchandra ji, and which is referred to as Aditya Hridayam, and it is certainly not in Tamil. It was in Sanskritam only. Of all the Indian languages, yes, Tamil seems to be difficult because the roots of many of other Indian languages, 60% is of Sanskritam language. Only Tamil has only about 5 to 10% from Sanskritam, rest of it is pretty unique. Malayalam seems very similar to Tamil because Malayalam is about 60% Sanskritam and 40% Tamil. It is one of the newer languages. Of the southern Indian languages, Malayalam and Kannada are very recent, I would say. But nonetheless, it is one of the ancient most within the southern language spoken. And therefore, you will find a similarity between Tamil, Pali, and Tibetan language, which follow the same sequence as in the sequence of Sharada Lipi. Before Sanskritam was written in Devanagari, it was written in Sharada Lipi, or it was also known as Brahmi Lipi. Language can be one and Lipi can be another one. How many of you speak or understand Tulu or Konkani? Both of these do not have a written format. Therefore, whichever part, whether Maharashtra or certain portion of Karnataka or Kerala, wherever that language is being spoken, they adapt and write in that particular language. Like many of your kids, when they are reading Sanskritam, do you think they are reading it from Devanagari? No. Many of the first generation, I don't think they are also reading it from Sanskritam. They are reading it from the transliteration, with the Lipi is in English, but the language is in So I'm trying to make a distinction between language and script. The pronunciation of the pavarga in Sanskritam, in fact in all other native Indian languages, the pavarga, what is the pavarga? In the Aksharamala, there is vowels and then there is kavarga, chavarga, tavarga, tavarga and pavarga. And then yaralava, shasa, ha. So the pavarga, pa, pha, ba, bha and ma. The pronunciation of the second syllable as fa is a non-existent pronunciation of Indian native languages born out of Sanskritam. Fa is a borrowed pronunciation from Farsi. It's not, the origin is not from Sanskritam. Therefore, when we read, why did I go into Sanskrit? And I love that language. Second is because many of you, when we were chanting, Yukta Karma Phalam Tyaktva, it is not Phalam Tyaktva, it is Phalam Tyaktva. Therefore, I had to go into the origin of the language, the ancientness of its origin, and that it beats Farsi. Farsi is a newer language, therefore you see the vocabulary of Urdu and the new age Hindi adopt to Fa, but not of the native speech. Which means when we chant in Sanskritam, in Vedic chanting, it has to be pronounced as Pha, not as Fa. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva. Very good. Shantim apnoti naishtikim. Ayuktaha kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. On this Naraka Chaturdashi day, there is a beautiful message being given of how to find internal peace. Peace spelling being P-E-A-C-E. Internal peace. There is this shloka in a very simple words. It says, Yuktaha. Yuktaha, the one who is Yukta, well informed. Or Yuktaha is the one who follows a good sense of logic. Yuktaha. Yogya Purusha. Now what is the Yogyata? That they use their sense of reason and logic. So Yuktaha, those who use a sense of reason and logic, karma phalam tyaktva shantim apnoti naishtikim. Gives up hankering and laying their hopes on the results of the action, thus thereby finding immense peace within. Now this one concept seems like too hard to digest. I'll tell you the repercussions of it as to how it impacts our life and how we, at that point when we go through such intersection of experience, we forget completely the application of Karma Yoga. Because this happens in the corporate cubicle politics quite a bit. It seems like I put the effort and somebody gets the credit, benefit, and the profit out of my effort. Is it a well seen, documented experience in the corporate world? In fact, when you are at a certain key position, you are also taught not to reveal your strengths, not to reveal your key critical things, by sharing which your existence in that company can become redundant. So create your niche and fortify it with your everything, because there are enough out there that can snatch and claim their credit. No, in Maharashtrian or Bombay Hindi, it is called dhapna. And therefore, you can say it as dhap security rather than job security. Because if we truly understand karma yoga, then that security or that insecurity should not exist. What does karma yoga say? Perform your actions, and in due course, whenever the intersection of various objects, things, and circumstances align themselves, and who organizes that? He organizes it. That Ishvara, as a karma phaladata, organizes it. When my action will yield that kind of result, it varies, but it certainly comes back to me and me alone, provided that when I am executing that field of responsibility or action, I have purest of the intentions, and my intensity with which I have put the effort is 100%, the result will be equally shining, but it would certainly come back only to me. It cannot go to anyone else. That's a guarantee. If not, tonight's dinner, how many of you are here, couples? It's good to experiment that way. You will not have any fight, I promise, with this experiment. How many of you are couples here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8 of couples, please experiment it in your. Decide. When it is time that your spouse is hungry, you sit down and eat a sumptuous meal with the intention that may my effort relieve the hunger of my spouse. I put the effort, somebody else snatches the result. Why did you all laugh? Because you know it is an impossibility. Right? Once I was down with malaria. You know, the malaria medicine is the worst kind of medicine ever. I forget the name. Cinquona. Chloroquine is a brand name. Chloroquine. Chloroquine is the chemical which will for certainty remove that malarial bug. And it is the most, I love bitter. I love methi, I love karela. So my threshold for bitter is really up there. I even drink sometimes karela juice without any sugar or salt. Yeah, see, already I get the expression. For my drinking, I get an expression from them because they're imagining. Yeah. But that chloroquine, Baba, even now when I think of it, my hair stands on end. Morning, afternoon, evening, it was in a liquid format. I said, at least get me a solid format so that it doesn't ruin my taste buds. I said, no, Swami, this is the most effective way. It will hit the bug in the most pervasive manner. Take it in the liquid form. After 3 days of dosage, there was this very loving elderly Amma who was taking care of me at that time in Chinmay Ashram in Vijayawada. She was not to be seen after the fourth day. So I started inquiring. They said, oh, she is having severe stomachache and loose motions. I said, what happened? I couldn't bear you going through with the medication and the effect of it. So I thought, let me take the medicine on your behalf so that your disease can be relieved. Can that help? However sweet that effort and emotion be, but it is counterproductive. Whenever exam comes, how many of you study on behalf of your child? Okay, you make them study, I can understand. Sometimes in the overzealous effort of the parent itself does the project also. You tell once, you tell twice, by the third time, patience is running low. Said, hut! And then do it. Said, go, give, submit. Yeah. They may have gone through the marks, but when their true test of knowledge comes, will they stand to that test of knowledge? They will sheerly, utterly fail. I put the effort, someone else takes the benefit, never happens. Except in one weird format called satsang, wherein the speaker speaks and the listener gets the benefit. Isn't it? In comparison to the speaker, you are doing zilch. Sitting in it, doing an obligation. ஓடுமா வெளியில போய் ஓடு போ. What's it? Wherever there is that speaker listener thing happens, I left school when I was 17. So my university school is not that strong. So mine mostly is satsang environment. So my example comes in that order. There also people don't give credit. Just telling you live example. Anyway. So if this is understood, the jovial part aside, now the serious part. Can anybody snatch that result which is supposed to belong to me? Logically, is it possible? If I have put the effort, the result has to come only to me. It cannot be snatched, it cannot be taken, it cannot be gone as a result of someone else. That is a flaw in the system. Understanding this, Even in the organizational structure, wherever I am involved in, if somebody wants to take the credit, I warn them. I warn them very clearly in all languages possible. I tell them, Venada, don't. Because that day when, because of this credit, you are expected in a tight spot to deliver that which you are taking a credit, you will fall flat on your face. That is way worse than anything else. Having warned, if you still want to take a credit, be my guest. My father, what goes? Do you know that? Translate that into Hindi. मेरे बाप का क्या जाता है? Like, I lose nothing. I stand to lose nothing. Take the credit. But the result of my action, nobody can snatch. When the right time for that result to evolve happens, it may look like both people are doing similar effort. And this beautiful experience was shared by one of the kids who grew up here. And their class was the first class that I started as a high school. And I did a lot of experiments with them, wherein now we have lock-ins, we have various satsangs and other groups that we have. I had done that experiment with that particular age group. So that was the first high school which got close to me, and they got close to me, I got close to them in understanding. So after about 8 years after high school, this kid comes back and I say, hey, good to see you after this long. I heard that you have gone into law school. How is law treating you these days? Because even today, that is one completely, such a field where there is no scope of expansion or growth. It is so much filled with lawyers that there is no jobs there out for them. It's very tough for them. So how is it treating you? I said, Swami, that is what I came to share with you, that I finally got my first interview, and I'm soon to be an assistant DA in particular county there, and the place is also beautiful. I'm looking forward for it. I said, how long did it take for you to get to this interview? I said, quite a few burger flipping joints that I have spent my life. He's done all kinds of odd jobs in between before he could land that opportunity for an interview, and he did well, and he is selected. He's now the DA, I believe, after 4 years or 5 years. So it was his word, it was his observation. I said, do you remember, Swamiji, there is another kid in my class. Both of us went through the similar pattern. We went through liberal arts, we went through our undergrad, then we applied for LSAT and got through. I didn't come out with the flying colors, but he got through flying colors. But nonetheless, I got into not a top tier university, but the second tier. He got into the top tier. And as soon as he finished his law school, he did masters. I also did my masters. And as soon as we both got out, because of his, both of us put the effort in the same field. But because of his intensity and the purposefulness with which he put the effort. And I was like, I didn't want to be looking like a nerd. I didn't want to be called or branded like a nerd, which he was branded as. So I goofed off my time when I should have spent a good time. So I know my intentions were there, but the intensity was not there backing it up. Whereas his intentions was quite vivid, quite seen. As soon as he was done with his masters, he was picked by the law agency. For 4 years that I have been hanging in there without a job, he has the job experience as a law associate. And now after 4 years, when I'm getting my first break as a job, he's already with that confidence that he's ready to quit that job and apply for prepping himself to be a judge. And both of us in the same stream, same line, same thinking, both of us have the same background almost. The intensity when it is differing, the results are so varied. You getting the point? So we cannot claim, we cannot say that, boy, everybody is putting the same effort, why am I getting this result? See, if I give to all those who are here one bowl full of atta, dough, water, salt, pan, stove to make roti. When somebody makes a roti, then I need to have, I could play a frisbee, ultimate frisbee with it. Because ekdam kadak hai. Like it's so rigid and hard. And some, when they make it, it is like two people have, strong muscular people have to hold it on both sides and pull it, yank it, and whoever lands wherever with how much ever size. Then there are some who burn it on both sides. Very few have wherein what it takes to be called as a simple daily Indian roti. Where both layers have fluffed up. Same ingredients. The expertise, the intensities, the intention, it yields to a different result. Plus, as we see in nature, in the same patch of land with the same environment, you have different scopes of seeds. Each seed has its own variation where it can yield its crop. Just because it has been put in the same patch of land, it is not necessary that it can yield the same result. Paddy yields a crop within 3 months. Or 90 days to 100 days, it yields a crop. Anybody who has done farming? So you should know, right? About 90 days, 90 to 100 days. If the land is really rich, between two paddy crops, you have a 1 month period where you have all these dals and pulses that can be grown. That's about 25 days you get a yield or a crop. A coconut takes about 5 years to give you a first crop. Then yearly around you will have a crop. But first 5 years you will not have a crop. Each seed has its own way of bringing out its crop, though applied in the same environment. Similarly are your 2-3 kids. Can you compare one kid with the other? Well, we invariably do it. We compare it with the other cousins as well. Look at that fellow. Whenever I was given that kind of an example, I used to always, retaliate saying, "तो उनको लाके रख लो अपने बच्चे की तरह, मैं जाता हूँ." Bring them as your children. I am not that fellow. So stop comparing me to that fellow. I thought I got rid of such comparisons when I left home for the ashram. I came to US, like Dallas, this is about 15 years ago. And after keenly observing for about 3-4 months, I said, if what we do here has to have its efficiency, that it can reach out to as many families, as many children can be benefited, then I need these 5 things. And the day I uttered these 5 C's, I became instantly infamous all across US. because that information immediately spread across. Pata nahi, at that time I was still a brahmachari. So I said, this brahmachari is not like a brahmachari, he has too much of demands. So I said, I need 5 C's. Do you know what those 5 C's are? Have I shared that with you? So my first C was, give me a cell phone. Second C, give me a computer. Third C, give me a cable. In those days, it was through the same cable that the TV as well as the DSL would arrive in. So give me a cable. Give me a car. And give me a credit card to pay for the earlier 4. And the organizing people, they went on a fit. They said, holy cow, this is not how a brahmachari should be. Look at the other Swami, he doesn't have a car, he has been here. You look at this. You know what? Enough of these comparisons. They are not me, I am not them. If you want them, bring them here, I'll leave. Are you getting? There's no point comparing anybody to anybody. There is no point comparing oneself to others and beat ourselves up. Understand what field we are in, what kind of work that we are in, what kind of intensity that it requires. Trust in your capacities. Trust in that Lord to give the yield of the effort as His blessings at His time. Because it cannot happen a moment early or a moment later. There's a famous Hindi, it's been used in movies also. नसीब से पहले और किस्मत से ज्यादा कभी किसी को कुछ नहीं मिलता. Have you heard of such statement? I don't know which movie used it. Song में भी आ गया. I should sue them for royalty. नसीब से पहले किस्मत से ज्यादा कभी किसी को कुछ नहीं मिलता. That which was supposed to be yours, that which is supposed to be reaching you in time, not a second early, not a second later. It unveils itself at the right appropriate moment. So there can never be a bad luck. There can never be something called as badkismat. Kismat again is not a Hindi word. It's a Parsi word. Urdu has adopted it, but it's originally from Parsi, where now even the British Oxford has accepted it as kismat. What mat? Kismat. One American was trying to tell that when when they pray, they bend down on their mat and kiss the mat. So whatever miraculous things happen after kissing the mat is called kiss mat. I said, wow, what an interpretation. There is nothing called bad luck. There is nothing called, things going on. They're revealing themselves, unveiling themselves at the appropriate time. So when I put an effort, nobody in this world can ever snatch the result of my effort. Because if that were true, that somebody's effort can be snatched and manipulated by somebody else, there's so many things that can go wrong, Baba, if we give in to that logic. Then I can employ somebody offshore that 3 times a day, find a healthy meal, eat for me. My hunger should get satiated here. I can employ the same fellow saying, exercise 3 times a day. My health should be benefited. How cool that would be. right? In fact, I would make that a business on the offshore. Our people's log for your benefit. Tagline also created. We will do the undesirable eating, exercising. You get the benefit transferred instantly, immediately. Is it even possible? Then why do we claim wrong claims saying that my life, my benefits were snatched by somebody? It cannot happen in the law of karma. That day when I understand this thoroughly, intensely, intimately, peace will be my birthright. You may try, Bhavan, nobody can snatch. In fact, one used up purse of mine, wallet of mine, I had thrown in Delhi. And after that, I went to Chardham Yatra, came back to the ashram. That wallet was sent back to me. It was in a trash can. I threw it एकदम बराबर trash can में फेंक के आया. और मिल जाता है सरकार. If that was supposed, that is exactly what I'm trying to say. If that is something that you have to have, it will find a method to reach back to you. Experimented. इंसानियत इतनी भी बुराई चीज नहीं है अभी भी. It happens, what we call as random acts of kindness. It comes to us in the right time. That's why I said this is the hardest principle to digest. Hopefully, I could get across to all of you. Anyway, see you all tomorrow for the Lakshmi Puja, 7 o'clock. And happy Naraka Chaturdashi and happy Diwali if not. And for all my Gujarati friends, happy Navvarsh. You say Naya Saal Mubarak, but I don't like that way of saying. Because Mubarak is purely Urdu. I would say Navvarsh Shubh Kamnaएं. हरि ओम. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.